All right, welcome back. We've been seeing a lot of school violence. It's something we've heard from students, parents, and teachers about, but we've not yet spoken to some of the people dealing with it firsthand, CCSD Police. Brian Zink with CCSD Police joins us now, along with Metro Sergeant Miguel Garcia for Behind the Badge. Thank you both so much for joining us.
Well, good morning. Thank you for having us.
And I know Sergeant Garcia, you guys have a partnership with CCSD, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But first, Lieutenant Zink, I do want to ask, of course, with the recent CCSD police shooting at Western High School, is there anything you can add to the information that we already know?
Yeah, unfortunately at this time I cannot speak to that as it's still under investigation, and we should know more information next week once Metro's FIT team releases their findings to us.
Okay, because I do know Metro is partnering in on that investigation. But I do want to talk to you, Lieutenant, about what your officers are seeing in schools themselves. They're dealing with this, you know, firsthand, sometimes the very first to respond.
Right, every day. Yeah, so I mean, it's no secret. We have seen an increase in violence across our campuses this year, and we are working hand in hand with Metro, our other partners, Henderson, North Las Vegas, to try to curb this. We've worked with them several times to have their officers come onto our properties, walk around, interact with the kids, interact with us, so that everybody sees that we're a law enforcement community, you know, combating this problem together.
Yeah, and you guys just released, CCSD Police just released some statistics about what we've seen this school year, so I just want to remind our viewers, confiscated 25 firearms from inside schools, and 3,000 assaults, batteries, and fights have been reported. So this seems huge. Are we seeing an actual increase in the number of violent acts on school campuses, or are these just more intense acts of school violence?
It's a combination, and when you see that number of 3,000, you have to realize that that's what was reported to us. It may not have actually been what happened. So a fight can get called out, or a juvenile disturbance can get called out, and it's all entered basically the same way. So then our officers respond, they do an investigation. It may not quite be that high. But yeah, we are seeing an incidence, a higher incidence, and we are seeing more large-scale fights where instead it used to be like a one-on-one, now it may be a group of juveniles. And then of course, like we talked about earlier, also a lot of these instances that no one would have ever known about are being pushed out on social media. So we are combating that as well. We are seeing an increase of these videos showing up on TikTok, Instagram, and some other platforms. So you know, we always ask, always want to remind kids that if you have videos like this, it's always better to get it to us first before you post it online.
With the increase in violent acts and their intensity, and it being instead of one-on-one group fights or multiple kids involved, is CCSD properly staffed to deal with this uptick?
We're always in that ebb and flow of we've got enough, we don't have enough officers, but you know, we are currently hiring. We've got officers in the academy. We've got 5 officers that are out riding on the strip right now doing bike training that'll be onboarded and out in the field as soon as possible. So it's just one of those things where it's a difficult thing, because you know, next year we could have a peaceful, quiet school year, and then everyone's going to be like, why do you guys have so many people? So it's one of those it's a balancing thing. So we always try to find the right fit and right out.
And is that why you partner with Metro to kind of help fill those gaps where needed?
Oh, absolutely. And then, you know, almost every single Metro officers have kids that are inside the school district too. So they're just as invested in these kids as we are. And so that's why we rely and we build those partnerships.
And that's the beauty of the partnerships. We multiply in law enforcement by doing these partnerships, right? I mean, you might only see one school police officer on property, but what the kids don't know, or sometimes they realize, is that they're in constant communication with our officers, and we're always on property walking around with them. And the best part of that is, at the end of the schools, they start seeing the black and whites. They start seeing the officers in tan uniform, because not only is school police responsible for the kids inside, we watch them as they leave school and they go into the neighborhoods and going home.
And you just hit on a point. The officers are responsible for their safety inside the schools. Who do you think is responsible for this uptick in violence that we're seeing?
I mean, again, it's hard to really pigeonhole it onto one group of people, but you know, we always encourage our parents to get more involved. And you know, I know you guys are just doing a story on Dads on Campus, and so that's something that the school district's going to hopefully roll out in the near future. But it's just, we always encourage our parents to get more involved, you know, because your kids are only with us for 6 to 7 hours a day. They're with you the rest of the time. So know what they're doing after hours, know what they're doing, of course, when they're at school. After hours, on nights, weekends, know what they're doing online, you know, kind of see what kind of person they are online, and make sure that it's the kind of person that you want your kid to be. parent your children, basically,
Yeah.
is what we're asking, being more involved.
And is that, and we've got a wrap here, but is that what the entire purpose of prevention before apprehension, the program that's being expanded, aims to do?
Well, that program actually will take our officers into the homes, voluntarily, of course, of kids who've been referred to us for possible gang involvement, and also for parents who have reached out to the schools asking for help.
Okay. And I think if parents are reaching out for help, I think that right there shows that they're
Absolutely.
interested in changing their behavior. Thank you both so much for joining us this morning, and hopefully this can get under control soon.
Absolutely. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. And if you have a question for Metro, please send us an email to behindthebadge@fox5vegas.com.